Alright, let's talk about utility in Counter-Strike 2. We all know grenades win rounds, but here's the thing, not all utility that you're throwing is created equal. Some smokes and flashes, they're practical, others, they're gimmicks. The practical ones, they work every single game, they're easy to throw, and they guarantee to have a big impact. The gimmicks are exactly the opposite. They're clunky, they're slow, they take time to line up, and usually they're only going to work once, if at all. I wanted to make this video to discuss the difference between gimmick utility and the difference between practical utility that you can throw every game, when you should be throwing each type, and what to look for when you're trying to decide if a piece of utility is something that you should be putting effort into memorizing so that you can throw it in your actual games. When I say practical utility, I'm talking about stuff that's reliable, consistent, and works in real situations. These are lineups and grenades that you can throw under pressure without needing 20 seconds of setup, and they're still going to land exactly where you need them. Typically, there are also lineups that have multiple ways that you can throw them. Take, for example, executing A on Mirage. There's plenty of different ways that you can smoke stairs, jungle, and CT. And a lot of the time, this utility also has a little bit of leeway in how accurate you need to be when you're actually throwing it. Think about something like the window smoke on Mirage. Everyone knows it. It's very, very easy to throw. There are multiple different positions that you can throw it from T-spawn. The lineups are all lenient when it comes to your crosshair placement, and it's something that you can throw at the beginning of every single round on autopilot, knowing that it's going to land and help your team take mid. Molotovs are the same thing. Let's talk about a really simple Molotov that barely even has a lineup. We're rushing up B on banana and we want to throw a molly off of the wall and have it land at sandbags, clearing that out at the beginning of the round. This is a perfect example of something that is very, very easy to throw, requires no thought, requires no lineup, and is guaranteed to land every single time. And every single time it lands, it's going to fulfill its purpose. Another example, let's stick with banana. Let's stick with B site on Inferno. When you're executing on B and you've already taken banana control, you want to molly off new box to make taking the B side a lot easier. That is an example, really simple utility that you can throw every single time that's going to have a real benefit in helping your team. Practical utility is all about repeatability and impact. If you can use it every single game and it helps you win fights, that's practical. Another key factor is how easy is that utility to understand if you're not in a 5-stack. Most of you don't play in a 5-stack. I don't ever play in a 5-stack. I've probably played 50 games in my life in a 5-stack. Even if you're in a 4-stack, that's still one player or 20% of your entire team that needs to understand what you're trying to do with your utility. You only get limited utility per round, so it needs to be used in a way that's going to help your team win the round. If you're throwing utility repeatedly that is very difficult to understand, takes ages to line up, requires a ton of team coordination to get anything done with it, that's not practical utility. Because how can you expect to get into a server where everyone's at a different stage of their game? If you live in Europe, there's a very good chance everyone speaks a different language. We're a little bit lucky here in Australia that 99% of people all speak English, so it is a little bit easier. But how can you expect complete strangers to just understand what you're trying to do when you're throwing utility that you saw on some random TikTok that looks really, really cool, but requires a 10-second lineup and then requires tight team play to make anything of it? The reason that practical utility is really powerful is everyone understands what they need to do. If I call that I want to smoke exec A, I need my team to drop 2 smokes. I'll already have the 3rd in the spot. I can simply ping it. I can throw them all from the same spot. They're going to land more or less at the exact same time, and people understand, okay, it's smoked. I then throw a lamp flash and people can rush out A and they can probably still all die, but at least there was a strategy there. And then you've got your gimmick utility. These are the smokes, the flashes, the molotovs. They look really cool on YouTube and TikTok, but in a real match, they're really hard to throw, they're hard to execute, and they're hard to have consistent impact with. One-way smokes are a really great example of this. I recently uploaded a TikTok showing a one-way window smoke on Mirage. It's fun, it looks cool, you can cheese out a couple of frags with it, but the reality is it takes a long time to line up. It relies on the other team being late out to mid. It also relies on them not smoking window themselves. It's unreliable. It looks cool for the video, but it's not something that you should be basing your window play on Mirage around. You've also got your super specific pixel perfect lineups. They require you to stand on a specific spot on the map, jump throw after running for 5 seconds through the air. You've got to line your crosshair up to a random point in the sky. It's way too unreliable. It takes way too much thinking, and it's very difficult to get your teammates to understand what you're trying to do. It looks cool in practice mode. You might be able to get it 1 out of every 10 times, but the reality is, in the heat of a match, you're never going to see pro players throwing this type of stuff. That doesn't mean gimmicks aren't fun. They're super fun. That's why people find them. That's why people use them. Throwing a decoy that looks like a flash, it might catch someone out once. It feels awesome, right? Like the oldest gimmick in the book is switching to your pistol and throwing it, acting like it's a flashbang. and you're just hoping that they look away, right? How often does that actually work? Never, or very, very rarely. Gimmick utility is the same. Gimmicks are fun. You can cheese yourself a couple of kills with them, but you do not want to be basing your entire game plan around these types of utility. To put it simply, gimmick utility is exactly what it sounds like. It's all in the name. It's a gimmick. It's flashy. It looks cool, but it's unreliable. And if you want to improve in Counter-Strike, and if you want to rank up, especially if you play solo queue or anything less than a 5-stack, you need to be reliable. Everything that you do needs to be reliable. Reliability is key in this game. To further on that, the reason practical utility is more important is simple. Consistency is what's going to win you games. It's what's going to help you rank up. If you know the basic smokes and molotovs for the maps you play, you're going to have a way more impact than someone trying to reinvent the wheel every single round. Practical utility is going to set your team up for success. It denies vision. It clears common angles. It makes sight takes smoother. Most importantly, it works every single time. Gimmicks might get you a highlight clip. They might win you a round here or there, but Counter-Strike is played in a best of 24 round format. You need something that's going to help you win 13 rounds, not 1 or 2. Now, I'm not saying you guys should never use gimmicks. They have their place. In a clutch, pulling out a weird one-way, sneaky molotov, they can catch your opponent completely off guard. In matchmaking, throwing something unexpected might tilt the enemy, might give you a free kill, might make them second guess themselves next time. At the pro level, we do see teams mixing gimmicks all the time. The difference between them and you and me is they use them after they become the best in the world at the fundamentals. Zywoo, Monacy, Donk, Nico, whoever your favorite pro is, these guys did not reach the top of their game learning how to smoke A from B on Mirage. So think of gimmicks like adding spice to your food. They add flavor, they make things interesting, they make things more entertaining, but you don't want your whole diet to be chili flakes. So if you're trying to get better at CS2, start with the practical stuff. Learn the bread and butter smokes, the bread and butter molotovs, the easy pop flashes that work almost every round. Once you've got those down, then sure, you can experiment with some gimmicks. They're fun, they keep the game fresh, and once in a while, they might clutch you out a round. But the truth is, it's the boring practical stuff that's going to win you the games, not the flashy stuff you see in a montage, not the cool lineups that you see on TikTok that you save to your favorites to never look at again. And I'm not saying that this is everyone, but the reality is a lot of you need to just remember to throw your utility. One of the biggest things for new players is they buy 4 pieces of utility at the round and then they just don't throw them. These are things that you have to consciously think about. You should never be randomly spamming and wasting your utility. That's a whole other separate topic in and of itself. But you should also never be sitting there with a full kit of utility. If you're not sure on how to throw a perfect smoke, just throw it. It's better than nothing most of the time. And it's something that I see in far too many games that honestly aren't even that low level. Just remembering that you have utility and that you need to throw it. It's going to elevate your game significantly more than learning how to do the one-way smoke out of Palace on Mirage. Thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. I hope you found this video a little bit helpful. Hopefully it shined a bit of light on what is useful and practical utility and what is more gimmick side. If you do enjoy this type of stuff, if you do like watching smoke, molotov, HE grenade lineups, then check out my short form stuff on YouTube and TikTok. I do a lot of gimmick stuff on there as well, right? I'm not saying that I don't do that. I do heaps of it. It views really, really well. But I do like to make a point of saying in the video, hey, look, this is a bit more of a gimmick than something that you should be using every single round. But hey, they're fun to learn. So if you're interested in that stuff, go check it out. Otherwise, if you like the video, like, subscribe, comment, and appreciate you for watching. Bye.